Was out in my quiet garage looking for Easter baskets that are somewhere in the garage, and I started thinking about Easter and what it really means. We spend a lot of time looking for our baskets to fill with candy and excitement for the morning. But tonight I'm just really reflecting on the true meaning of Easter, the resurrection. And I was thinking about a time last year when Bailey cut her hands. I know I wrote about it, but I was thinking about that moment when I came downstairs and the blood was everywhere, and I go into shock with these things, and Sean took care of it. But the days after, when her hands were all stitched up and she was bandaged up, and I remember being in my laundry room feeling sorry for myself and really getting stuck on, why me, God? Why did this happen to our family? We've been through enough. Why is it always us? Why does it always have to be us? And I had been in my laundry room for a while, just feeling sorry for myself, not for my little girl who had gone through so much pain with this blender accident, but for myself. Just thinking about me. Why me? And I will never forget her walking into the laundry room and saying, "Mom, remember the other day when I had asked you about what my struggle was? Teague struggles with reading and Titus can't have half of the foods we can eat. Remember when you told me that sometimes I'm so smart that I forget to have empathy for others?" Well, I went upstairs that day and I prayed for empathy. And at the time I'm like, oh man, I should have warned you. You can't pray for empathy. But she kept going, and she said, I hurt my hands just a few hours after that prayer. And never in my life have I ever had so much empathy for people who are disabled or people who can't see. And I've been thinking a lot about, as I sit here and you guys do everything for me and you feed me and you change my clothes, I've been thinking about empathy. And I'll never forget when she said this. She said, I've also thought a lot about Christ. How because of him, these wounds in my hands will heal, but also because of me, he has wounds in his hands. He suffered for me. He suffered so that I can heal, so that things can be made right in my life. And we sat there in my laundry room, a place where I had spent so much time crying that day, why me? Talking about a Savior who died for me, who died for us, no matter what our story is, no matter where we've been, no matter what we're struggling with. The wounds in my daughter's hands will always remind me of the resurrection, of the Savior who is so perfect, but he still carries those scars to show us that he loves us. And that's what Easter means to me today. Easter is a time for us to remember that grace, that we can use it wherever we are and wherever we've been and wherever we're going. We have a Savior, we have a brother who loves us. We don't all have scars in our hands to remind us of that truth, but we do have scars in our hearts. But that truth that he loves us, that he carries those scars willingly. Willingly, he died for us and he suffered for us everything we've ever felt before. He's been there. So those moments when you think you're alone, I want you to remember that you have a Savior who didn't just die for us, but who was resurrected the next day. And that's why we celebrate Easter, to celebrate that truth, that he lives. He lives now. He lives in our hearts, he lives in our lives, and he is there. You are never alone. He is always with you. And I hope that this Easter season you remember the true meaning of his message of hope. That as you celebrate that candy in those streets and this basket that I finally found that I'm gonna go put out for my kids, that we remember that Christ is the reason that we celebrate Easter, that he resurrected and he lives.